What's happening, everybody? Happy Wednesday, and welcome to the Dynasty WarZone, the People's Dynasty podcast. And on this week's show, we're going to talk Dynasty trades, and we're going to talk the likelihood of some NFL trades. But I'll tell you what's always about 100% likely is that I'm going to be joined by my co-host. You know him as the man of the hour and the man with the power. He is Jerry Sinclair. Jerry, what is going on?
Listen, it is another day. A glorious day, in fact, that I get to sit here with my friend and talk to all of you people about the sport we love, obsess over. It's a good one. It's a good one. I'm excited for it. What do we got on the docket, my friend?
You know, not a whole lot. We were going to continue our Dynasty Super System series, but it is a holiday week. And it's a short work week for a lot of people. And we record live on YouTube and Twitter on Tuesday night, podcast on Wednesday, and didn't really want to be all pushy about, hey, I know you had an extra day off from work and probably your podcast. Why don't you come on ours? So we thought we'll bring the guests back next week. So I thought we'd talk trades. Everybody likes trades. There's some potential NFL trading, going on. We're going to jump into that as well as some Dynasty trades, including one you and I made as soon as we went off the air last week. We'll jump headfirst into that one. But one thing I want to jump headfirst into is thanking everybody for the ratings and reviews. We were up to 205. We got a couple more today. And Jerry, do you know why we got more ratings and reviews?
Why did we get more?
Because if you go to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and simply leave your email address or Twitter handle, you can be entered to win a spot in the Scott Fish Bowl. It's that simple, fellas. So, good friend of the show, Mr. Scott Fish, and last week's guest, Mr. Ryan McDowell, were kind enough to not only invite us back for our annual foray into the ultimate fantasy football contest of both fantasy skill and generosity, but they were kind enough to give us a spot. So, how do you enter? Guys, I know a lot of people are doing it, and they can give away their spot how they want to give away their spot. Jerry and I, we got it pretty simple for you. You can go to iTunes, you can leave that 5-star review, and simply leave your email address if you're not on social media, or leave your Twitter handle so we can DM a potential winner. Or you can simply go over to YouTube, subscribe to the Dynasty WarZone YouTube channel, and when you do that with notifications turned on, I get an email saying, hey, so-and-so subscribe to your YouTube channel. At this time next week, we're going to take everyone that's done a review or has subscribed. We're going to put them in the Wheel O' Names right here on this very show, live on YouTube, Jerry. And we're going to pick a winner.
And we are just going to make somebody's day. Because is there a better email to get if you are in this community more so than the Scott Fish Bowl invite? Listen, I was getting a little worried. I don't know about you, but, I got in a couple years in a row, so I got a little cocky. I was starting to think like I was a staple, and I've been sweating it for a little bit, but I finally got it. Bless his sweetheart for sending that our way, and one of you can bless his sweetheart by getting into that bad boy in the easiest way possible by doing everything. Randy,
you can do both. I will say you can do both if you both subscribe and leave the 5-star review. I'll add you in there twice. And if you've already left a review, it's cool. You can go in and edit your review. Just go in and delete your previous nice or maybe not nice comments and just put in your Twitter handle or email address. I'm going to go through every single one of them. I'm going to pull the names out to give everybody a shot at, because here's the thing. The Scott Fish Bowl, if you know that one-word game, Jerry, the one-word game as it relates to Scott Fish Bowl, for me that word's joy. Because I have joy when I get the email that says, hey Randy Young, I am personally inviting you to the Scott Fish Bowl. It brings me joy. I try to, everyone I see, people who tweet their picture of their invite, I try to like it on Twitter. But it also brings joy to kids and families, because part of what the Scott Fish Bowl does with, and I'm going to name names and I'm going to miss somebody and I'm going to feel like a dick, but I just got to be honest. Scott Fish, Ryan McDowell, John Bosch, Sal Lito, Kevin Cotillo, Steve, the guys over at the former FF Funhouse. They do the Scott Fish Bowl Potathon. Literally this year, John Bosch has already raised $40,000?
$40,000, yeah.
Yeah, $40,000 for Fantasy Cares. We're going to raise more than that when people start making their donations for being in the Scott Fish Bowl. We're talking six figures.
Yeah.
Well into six figures of giving away spots into the Scott Fish Bowl. So it's going to bring a lot of joy to a lot of people. So that's what we got going on with Scott Fish. And real quick, you can follow us on social media at Dynasty WarZone, Instagram and Twitter, as well as at DWZ Memphis and at Jerry Sin DWZ. If you're not on socials, you can email us dynastywarzone@gmail.com. And Jerry, before we get into the body of the show, start talking about trades and all of this other fun, good stuff. We are going to talk about the social media that's known as the Dynasty Warzone Patreon. Now, Jerry is having a little bit of technical issues. His camera is frozen. He sounds a little scratchy, but that's okay. That's what we known as pulling a Jerry around these parts. The Patreon. We welcomed a new Patreon just the other day. We're in the middle of the auction, and Jerry, the auction draft is taking longer than your standard snake draft. Have you been keeping up with the auction?
I have not, but I am in an auction with, Kyle from the SmackDown and Mike Jernigan, formerly of this podcast. And that stuff does take some time, man. Especially because, I don't know how yours is. We try and smash out a ton of it in 2 days because they're degenerates and I'm a degenerate. So, what does the bidding process look like for one player in that draft?
So we're using the Sleeper platform. And on Sleeper, for our Patreon leagues at patreon.com/Dynasty Warzone, the way it works is you nominate a player. So everybody takes turns. So, every 12th pick or whatever, 12th player, you get a nominate. And then you get a nominate at a dollar amount. And then every GM either gets to make another bid or they get a pass. And here's the thing. If you pass, you can jump back in. If you jump out on a player and at the last minute because you're like, and you decide to jump back in, it'll let you. And I want to give a shout out. I've done it a couple of pods in a row, but our buddy from Australia, Neil Gray, one of the best patrons that anybody could ever ask for. He's playing like auctioneer. He's sending me DMs because I'm horrible about remembering to check every 5 minutes to see if anyone's up. He's like, Antonio Gibson. So, but right now, have you seen the movie Bridesmaids, Jerry?
I feel like I have, but I'm not positive.
The one scene where the chick on the airplane goes, "Help me, I'm poor." That's me. That's me in this draft. Help me, currently I'm poor. I think I'm one of the lower men. I did get Joe Burrow. I did get my man Carson Wentz. We're going to talk about him here in just a second. The trade you and I made. I got Saquon Barkley, DJ Moore, the standard Memphis crew. But, man, you can learn all about that by hanging out with us at Dynasty Warzone's Patreon, patreon.com/Dynasty Warzone. And, man, check it out. I think you'll like the volume, and I think you'll like the value of what you get for your $5 a month. All right, Jerry, enough filibustering. We are going to jump in to the show. So it is June 1 as we record this show. Jerry, have you ever heard the term post-June 1 in the NFL?
I don't think I have. You are going to have to enlighten me on that.
Man, Jerry, have you been living under a rock? So the term post-June 1...
Michigan is a rock, so sort of.
Kind of. Detroit Rock City. But the term post-June 1 means a team, if they wait until June 1st or after, they can rework some of the dead money in a player's contract. So like Aaron Rodgers, I think the Packers can save $14 million by trading him, or they're not going to cut him, but they could save $14 million by waiting to do it now versus doing it yesterday. So that's what they mean by post-June 1 cut. So I thought we'd talk about three of the bigger names. I've also heard names like Jamison Crowder. No one gives a shit about Jamison Crowder. I mean, maybe his mom, his wife. I'm sure his family loves him quite a bit. Not me. Not Jerry. Not you, because his dynasty value is deader than the dodo. But so, Jerry, let me ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 100, so by percentage points, for you personally, what's the likelihood Aaron Rodgers gets traded? First question. Second question is there a spot he could land that would either increase or decrease his fantasy value from a dynasty standpoint?
I am sort of a bad person to ask this question for because I was absolutely
You don't
bona
do math?
fide certain that Tom Brady was not being traded and Tom Brady was going to stay a New England Patriot. And that,
Well, Tommy B was a free agent. Tommy B had the
I, mean, I hear you, but even so, I was certain, and I am pretty damn certain that Aaron Rodgers is just doing a bunch of talking right now. I I just have a hard time imagining him leaving Green Bay, but like it is there a place for you that his value decreases? I don't think so. I think wherever he goes, I'm gonna like him. And I can't imagine a situation because of the talent that he would bring to an organization that it would dip. Like it would have to be just a piss poor ass organ. Like hey, like if he came to the Lions for whatever reason, like you have nobody here. So obviously I that would be a dip, but I don't see something like that happening. So no, not really. He would be pretty stable wherever he goes or wherever he ends up for me.
well, part of it is for me is I will go with the percentage or the likelihood that he gets traded first. For me, I've got it at about a 60% chance that he stays a Green Bay Packer.
Okay, I thought you were going to say trade there. That
No,
was going to throw
no.
me for a loop a little bit.
I've got it about a 30% chance he gets traded and a 10% chance he retires. Because it seems like right now the team president, Mike Murphy, is pretty much dug in. He says that we're not trading Aaron Rodgers and he's not giving in. Aaron Rodgers is in Hawaii and all of the receivers. That was the weird thing. All of the receivers, I guess in a show of support for Aaron, they did not show up to OTAs. I don't know if that was to thumb their nose at them, but I could see this one getting ugly. And this is going to be tough for Dynasty GMs. For me, Aaron Rodgers was already a sell. I mean, this is the short term memory part of Dynasty that makes it really hard in Twitter, especially. It's like we live in a fishbowl. It's like we can't go back just 2 simple years with basically the same tools in the toolbox. Aaron Rodgers had like 26 touchdowns. And all of a sudden, the front office and the team president and the GM, and they drafted Jordan Love, and it lit a fire under his ass, and he threw 48 touchdowns last year and won the MVP. Well, which one is it? Is he Aaron Rodgers from 2019? Is he Aaron Rodgers from last year? Is he somewhere in the middle? I don't know. This is a wonderful opportunity to try to unload him. I tweeted this last week, but that if you think there's at least a 50% chance that Aaron Rodgers is not a Packer in 2021, that makes Jordan Love the greatest value at his current ADP, mind you, his current value. He skyrockets. For me, he would skyrocket past Mac Jones. He would skyrocket past Zach Wilson, and people would say, "Well, how could that be? He's looked terrible in 4 throws I've seen on Twitter." I don't give a shit what you've seen on Twitter. What I give a shit about is that he's going to be in that LaFleur via Shanahan offense. He's still going to have Devontae Adams. He is going to have a decent offensive line, and he's going to get the opportunity. And Jerry, I know you don't want to hear this. He plays in a fairly shit division. So
not fairly shitty. I
mostly
think they
shitty.
are. No, is there a shittier division?
Man, I'm a Colts fan. You know, Tennessee's regressed. We got Jacksonville, Houston.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I mean, I hate to say it, but the NFC East. What was the division winner last year? Was like 7-9.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little.
How about this?
That's paper tigery because I think the Cowboys are going to be all right. But continue.
One of the shittier divisions in the NFL is the NFC North.
Yes.
So, I mean, Jordan Love could come in and have significant value right away, and people just aren't valuing him. Now, I still believe that if you don't get value out of Jordan Love in 2021, you're going to get it next year. No matter what happens. I think this was always the plan. Two-year marinating period for Jordan Love, and if he gets forced into action earlier, sooner, cool. But
we got to talk about Jordan Love a little longer, though.
Sure,
because he's an inevitable asset to be a starting quarterback. You would agree with that?
100%. I mean, like I said, I don't know if they were all starting today. Again, forget Justin Fields, way more talented. Forget Trey Lance, way more talented, and don't even bring the good name of Trevor Lawrence into this conversation. But let's just isolate it to those three: Jordan Love, Mac Jones, and Zach Wilson. Who would you rather have of those three when you take into account the weapons, when you take into account the coaching staff, And you take into the fact that they're literally a year apart on their rookie deal. And I will also throw in, if Green Bay lets Aaron Rodgers walk, who has more incentive than Brian Gutekunst, Mike Murphy, and Matt LaFleur to make Jordan Love a superstar? They have to. Because if they don't and they never get back to at least decent and let Aaron Rodgers walk, they look like dumbasses, and they probably all get fired.
Correct.
So they have all the incentive in the world to make Jordan Love work. So that's why I would like him. Your thoughts, good sir?
So if that's the case, which I agree with, I agree that he is inevitably going to be a starter, and given the reins, you don't take him in the first round to not do that, and cause this entire giant fiasco with a first ballot Hall of Famer to not eventually start the man. Why the hell is he so cheap? Like, you've done startups, and we trade, and we have tons of leagues, and everyone that's listening has tons of leagues. Like, where's this dude going in startups? So late. Like, I understand and I get it that you have to wait for him a little bit. But if you had a rookie a rookie quarterback drafted in this class, and they had Devontae Adams, and they had Aaron Jones at running back, and, they just drafted Amari Rodgers, they have Robert Tonyan there, where would you put that rookie quarterback? Yeah, that's what I mean. Way the F ahead of where you're taking Jordan Love. And what if he has to sit a year? Trey Lance might have to sit a year. Justin Fields might have to sit a year. Like, I mean, anything can happen. I think he is free for the most part. Like, with all due respect,
I did a little research, Jerry, because one of us has to on the Dynasty WarZone. I did a little research. Give a shout out to.
I just complain. That's just what I do.
That's what you do best. Go steer into it, Jerry. That's your strength. But I used a resource. I used our good friends over at the Dynasty Trade Calculator, Izzy and JP, and I think it's the best tool that you can have because Is it perfect? No, but it gives you an idea. Per their calculator, Jordan Love is worth the 204 in 2021 picks. And
Kiss my ass.
Sold. So let me ask you this: do you want Elijah Moore, Michael Carter? I'm trying to think. Rashad Bateman. I've seen Rashad Bateman go in that area.
I mean, that's pretty far for him to fall. But
Terrace Marshall. Those are guys that I've seen going around the 204. So would you rather have those dudes, or would you rather have Jordan Love? It's Jordan Love.
It is. He's going to start at some point.
If it's not this year, it's next year.
And what's he going to do? Like, how bad does this man have to be to not return value in a superflex? So he needs to be a top 24 quarterback in a superflex to be startable. You play in 12 team leagues, 2 quarterbacks, that's 24. He needs to be in the top 24 out of 31 effing starters in the league. You're going to tell me that he's not going to amount to that? Like, get the... Yes, it's Jordan Love.
Let me say this. Let me just say, if he does not start a game, if he does not play a game in 2021 and you can get him for the 204, that's like putting money in an investment. That's like putting money into, it's like investing in like a property in an area that's currently down, but you've got insider information that at some point the city's going to buy up some land, or they're going to put in a shopping mall, or they're going to put in some developments, and that's going to go up. If you can just get it now while it's cheap, have a little patience. But here's the thing. This isn't a secret. This isn't insider information. We all know this. The plan's always to start Jordan Love next year. So if you can get him now, you'll thank yourself later. All right, got another guy for you. Are you ready?
Shoot.
Now this guy I feel like is definitely getting traded, so I'll go first. It's Julio Jones. The odds of him getting traded, if I put it in percentage, I think it's about 95. Because there's always a chance. There's always a chance that they don't like the offers on the street. But here's the thing. Along with the next team we're going to talk about, they can't currently afford to pay their rookies. So I know that Jason Moore, a good friend of the show, former guest of the show, Jason Moore from the FF Ballers, he posted out a tweet that said, reports are that Julio Jones could go to, and he listed like literally 20 of them.
Made the Pat McAfee podcast. Look at this
guy.
Dude,
it was hilarious. It was a great tweet by Jason, and it's true. But let me ask you this. I think you would agree that he's very likely to be traded. Would you agree with 90-95% certainty that he's going to get traded between now and the start of the season?
Absolutely.
Give me a couple of landing spots that would give you a stock up, stock down scenario.
Um, I mean, Tennessee's a big one. Here, let's talk about Tennessee because it's the favorite. What are your thoughts on Tennessee? Like, is it a good thing for you? I think it's a good thing. Like, I know Ryan Tannehill isn't like the best quarterback, but he's still pretty good. And AJ Brown's there, but they're, who
It
the
helps
F are you going
everybody.
to cover? Yeah, exactly. I think the
Who
same.
no matter where he goes, Julio is the high tide that raises all boats. Now, you have to be very careful. And, the big sell window on Julio has long since passed. I
Yes.
think the best case scenario from a dynasty standpoint, which is what we're here to chat about, is you just kind of lay out. And if he's having a great season, you just try to flip him to a contender. And, there are so many
Is that the
places.
case? And no matter where he goes, because
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's irrelevant where he goes. I think that is always the strategy.
Miami would be a bad spot because they have so many pieces already. The Giants would. I mean, I've not heard these teams in the mix. I'm merely
Yeah.
saying Seattle. I don't think Seattle's great from a from a real football standpoint. It's fantastic. I mean, you're going to give Russell. I guess it would be good for Russ. But
Yeah.
you're going to give Russell Wilson, Julio, and DK and Lockett, and they added Gerald Everett on top of adding some pieces to that offensive line. I think from that standpoint, it'd be pretty good. From a fantasy standpoint, it just kind of poos all over. I mean, you don't want to see him going to the Jets. You don't want to see
No,
him.
no, 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 no. But I don't think he wants to go to teams like that. What about your
Well, I don't.
boys?
He
What
doesn't
about
have
the
a
Colts?
choice. Here's the thing: the Colts have already given up what could be a first round pick next year for Carson Wentz. So they would have to take a third, maybe 2/3 from the Colts. There's only a handful of teams that can outright afford him right now, but this is the NFL.
Yeah.
If your owner's willing to scratch a big enough check, you can just about make anything work. But yeah, the Colts need that would be a good spot for them, as long as they could get out of it in a year or two. I'm not a big fan in Dynasty in the real NFL of taking on 32-year-olds.
Well, no.
And here's the thing: Julio's tougher than an old steak. He is tough as could be, tougher than a $3 steak, Jerry. But here's the thing: he's played through a lot of injuries in his career. If he's not winning, if he's not playing winning football, what's his incentive to get back out there? He wants to get every dollar of this. His extension just kicked in now. He wants to get every dollar of that $60+ million. So if is he going to be as durable as he used to be? I mean, we've seen guys at 32 have great seasons. T.O., Andre Johnson, the list goes on. But we've also saw it both ways. We've seen A.J. Green turn to dust. We saw Jordy Nelson turn to dust. T.Y. Hilton's a year younger, turn to dust. This is a which way that do you go novel. And as both an NFL team and as a GM of a dynasty team, I'm not looking to give up a ton to acquire Julio unless two things. A, he's balling. And B, I'm chasing a championship around like week 10, 11, 12. Then I'm interested. Then I'll talk to you.
See, I think I'm more interested if I'm the person flipping him in week 9, 10, or 11 because I don't know. Like he's not a huge. I think his name gives you more value than his production actually does for the most part, even in redraft, because he just doesn't score touchdowns. Now maybe that'll change wherever he lands, but whoever is going to flip him is probably going to get a better deal than anything you were hoping for in return, production wise and fantasy points wise, from Julio. But listen, either way, it's going to be a big ass story and it's going to be fun for us for a little bit. So. Because you don't see big names like that. That's a decade staple of this game that we play, a name that's on the move. So that's, listen, it's fun, it's exciting. But like you said, I'm not in the business of, guys in their, early to mid 30s on the move. Exactly. But at least not relying on them.
Well, I pulled this data from playerprofiler.com. In his career, he's been on 9 injury reports and missed 7 games with a hamstring strain. He's missed
Only 7.
He's missed 0 games, but been on the injury report twice for a hip flexor. Been on the injury report for a calf strain. Missed a couple of games to a toe sprain. The shoulder sprain, not here nor there. But that's a lot of lower body injuries. And as an older guy myself who does try to stay active, injuries don't get better with age. Even when you put a million, I mean, it's finally caught up to LeBron James in the NBA. Eventually, you just don't heal like you used to. But Julio is one of those special super freaks. So We'll dive more into that once he actually lands on another team. And I got one more name I want to cover with you before we jump into some trades that we've actually made. We're going to get into some dynasty trades. Zach Ertz. Now, the Philadelphia, it is lying season, Jerry. You do know that it's professional lying season. So Zach Ertz, the Eagles also cannot currently afford to sign their rookie class. I got that from Les Bowen, who's a Philadelphia beat writer, and I saw him tweet that out over the weekend. So Zach Ertz is going to get moved at some point. I think even if they get like a fifth or something for him. Is there a spot that, because I think Zach Ertz is about as down as can be. I've seen him going as like tight end 25, even in tight end premium, off the board. Is there a spot that could give some CPR to his dynasty value, especially in like a tight end premium format?
You know what's a spot that would really piss me off, and I've been seeing it a lot lately, is the Kansas City Chiefs. Because I have acquired quite a bit of Zach Ertz lately, just because, like what you said, like he's free. Like if I'm in a startup, sure, I'll just throw him at the end. I already have one or two already. That would just piss me off because Travis Kelce is a MFing monster, and that would just ruin that. Your boys, a little bit. I would like to see your boys a little bit. Maybe Cincy. Does Cleveland have money? I don't know if Cleveland's got money.
Cleveland's got a couple of tight ends we already like. They got Austin Hooper and they got Harrison Bryant. I mean,
they got like an okay guy. That's what I'm saying. Like it's all right, but I feel like they're really like putting all their cards and all their chips in the center, and they're really trying to go for it. So I would think they would try and grab pieces. I think Cincy, I think your boys are two of the ones that I would really like.
I think the Colts are the best spot. I would, at this point, because if you're the Colts and you're as confident in Carson Wentz as I am, then why not say, hey, just throw us Zach Ertz. We'll take the conditional off that first-round pick, and you'll just get the first-round pick. You don't have to wait and see if Carson plays so many snaps. Just go ahead and throw Zach Ertz on over, because I like Kylan Grayson as a stash on tight end premium on the back end of your roster. I like Mo Alley Cox. They put a second-round tender on him during free agency season.
But they're not super sexy. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah. And he's got the relationship with Frank Reich, with Carson Wentz. It makes so much sense. I've seen the Cardinals, which I do not like. I do not like how if you go to
that spot.
I don't, because if you go to PFF or you go to any place that does tracking like Next Gen Stats over at the NFL.com, and you look at Kyler throwing across the middle, that ain't his bag. That is not his bag.
It's not. But who has he had really? I mean, we're talking Crumbums and shoe clerks at tight end. I mean, yeah, if you want to put Larry out there, but you want to talk about old wide receivers that you don't want to rely on. Hi, Larry. How are you doing today, buddy?
But even at 38, is Larry less athletic than Zach Ertz is now? Probably a push.
That's fair. All right. That's a good point.
We've not seen a ton of slot value work in the middle of the field with Kyler as the QB. So, I mean, LA, the Chargers, would be great.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It would nuke the value of Tyler Higbee, but LA with the Rams, it would nuke the value.
I was thinking that too, but
Buffalo, I've heard Buffalo. Buffalo would be a good one, because really outside of, we're all hoping Gabriel Davis ascends. I do like the ageless one, Emmanuel Sanders there. Obviously, Stephon Diggs is a beast, but that would be a nice
Gabriel Davis just sort of seems like this year's Darius Slayton. Like, yeah, he did pretty good as a rookie. You didn't really expect it.
I didn't say that. He's all hate.
He's getting a little too much hype. He's gotten
too big for his britches?
A little too big for his damn britches. I like it. Yes, that's my take on him.
It would be good for it would be good for the young man. I wouldn't mind. It wouldn't be great for winning any kind of the New York Jets. So the Chris Herndon thing's all but over. You can direct the Chris Herndon hate to at DWZ Memphis. But if you think about it, you got Corey Davis and Mims on the outside. Yep. You got the super athletic Elijah Moore. Man, what's missing in 11 personnel? And they've got the money. They've got the draft capital. I think that would be okay. And what's a young quarterback's security?
And he's got a ring too.
Yeah, he's playing for what they call money, and a lot of it. So I think that would be a good spot. It would kill Anthony Ferkser. I mean,
Oh
they're in
shucks.
they're so there
Listen,
are
I
some
know you
spots.
you you just talked with the Aussies. Was that yesterday? And you guys were talking about tight ends, and he got brought up, and he is intriguing, but that's a dude who's just in a
Dallas,
good spot, in my opinion.
Dallas.
Okay.
What's a big fu to Blake Jarwin fans like us and Eagles
Yeah.
fans than Jerry Jones signing, a former Eagle and then
How
winning the
much? How
division.
much would that help his value, though? Honestly, because I mean, they have a lot of mouths to feed, but that offense is
Man, there's
very
just so much
good.
value. And here's the thing. So what drives me crazy is I've had this thought all weekend, and I actually tweeted it out on Saturday or Sunday about be proactive, go kick tires on Zach Ertz before he gets cut. And I start going around to my tight end premium leagues and just seeing who owns them, and I'm just like, shit. I'm not going to get him. Shit. Because the one league we're in together, the league we're getting ready to talk about, it's a start two tight end league. And I
Yeah,
was
good
like, man,
luck.
I would love to get him as a tight end three. Because here's the thing. We all love Travis Kelsey. I love Travis Kelsey. Do you love
Yep,
Travis Kelsey? You
I
just said
do,
you love Travis Kelsey. Zach Ertz is younger than Travis Kelsey.
which is
It's a,
crazy.
it's a little known fact, but he's like a year younger than Travis Kelsey. And he could have a 2 to 3 good year run for you on the right team. Like if he goes to the Colts and the Wentz experiment works out, that's money. I'll give you one last one, then we'll take a commercial break, and then we'll jump into trades we've made. What about Carolina? Now, I like Tommy Tremble. They did sign the postman, Dan Arnold. The corpse of Ian Thomas is probably in that building somewhere. Probably the cat, the Panther,
It's
ate him.
him
'Cause
and Chris
he's
Herndon will have an awesome podcast in 2 years.
they should go on like they should like become like MMA fighters or something. They can fight for the rights of who was the biggest bust of a dynasty tight end ever. That'd be a great battle. But yeah, I mean that'd be a good spot, right? I mean, there's got to be a tight end breakout there somewhere. So a lot of good spots, a lot of big names are going to be in the move. But remember, be proactive. Be proactive in your pursuit of these guys because the minute the information becomes public, the value's gone. You
Here,
just
let me
poke
let
them.
me let me let me reiterate that one more time. How much is Zach Ertz worth right now in trades and it like honestly, it's extremely depressed, right?
Even in tight end premium, a mid second or worse.
And I'm going to reiterate what you just said. The moment the man has any news,
He's a Colt, Jerry. Tomorrow he becomes a Colt. What happens to his value?
it immediately goes up. Immediately. And he's going to end up on a team. Like this is the Jordan Love conversation that we're having again. Like do you think Zach Ertz is not going to end up on a team? What is the percentage that happens? I put it at zero.
It's 0%. But
Okay,
here's the thing.
so his value is always going to go up, is what you're saying.
And one last thing, one last thing. Here's go get Dallas Goddard because because he automatically gets a value boost. We've
He
been
costs
waiting
money
for this.
though. Like he
But-
actually he has some trade value and he has startup value.
Jerry,
Zach
if you
Ertz
buy-
right now he's down in the DVD section with they just got the big yellow $1 sticker on him. That's what Zach Ertz is right now.
No, but here's the thing. Even if you buy something nice, it can ascend in value.
Which is
It can-
fair. Which is
it can
fair.
still. Have you seen home prices lately across this great nation?
Right.
Straight. So even nice things can go up because here's the thing. Someone in your league is going to go, did you see Zach Ertz is in Philadelphia? I guess Goddard's value went up. I sound just like
Yep,
everybody.
just like
That's what's-
hypothetical fan. Yep.
and the 10%, the 20% valuation bump just went up. So, all right, we're going to take a little bitty break. We're going to hear from our friends over at Hate Brand Goods. A new drop this Thursday. It's called Worth the Squeeze. Check it out at thehvii.com. Use promo code Memphis if you see something you like. You got the kick today in the DIC. We can't spell that on the air. They've got bags. They've got all kinds of stuff for fitness. And it's just athleisure wear. It's comfy. I wear it all the time. And we're going to hear from Matt and the gang over at Hate Brand Goods. All right, big shout out to Matt and the group over at Hate Brand Goods. Promo code Memphis at checkout. All right, Jerry, this is what people love. They love talking dynasty trades. Now, when this very show went off the air 1 week ago tonight, you and I went over a trade. Do you want to share with these fine people the trade?
You know what? I think you are a better storyteller. You go ahead and you lead into it, my friend.
I have never been once told I was a good orator, but here we go. So last week, I have no, had, keyword is had. I had no Trevor Lawrence in any league that really matters to me until last week. And Jerry and myself did a startup. It's a fairly pricey startup. I think it's a fair way to put that. It's definitely not a $50 league. But Jerry and
It's
I,
my most expensive league. It's expensive for me.
it's in my top 4 or 5. So it's definitely an expensive league.
Whoop,
Three
whoop.
it's
That's the
it's three
siren for
it's three
Randy's
figures.
loaded.
It's 3 figures. It's not a good friend of the show, Dan Williamson, four
No,
figure
no,
league,
no,
Dr.
no. No,
Kyle,
they got
four
that
figure
FU
league.
money though.
Yeah, yes they do. They're just like, throwing it around like Floyd Mayweather. But it's a good size league. And in the startup, the rookie picks were in there, and at the 107, you took the 101 because you knew who you were going. You wanted a premium quarterback. And so the rookie draft has commenced. You had Trevor Lawrence. Now, as everyone knows, if you've ever seen the picture of me and Carson Wentz, photoshopped as Will Ferrell and John C. Riley on Step Brothers, I am a huge Carson Wentz guy. I believe before he was a Colt. I'll believe after he was a Colt. And if he can't work it out with Frank Reich, after I've seen guys like Jacoby Brissett, like Andrew Luck, like Phillip Rivers have their most efficient, I didn't say best, but I said most efficient year of their career under Frank Reich. If he can't return to form, well, then I've missed out. But anyway, I sent you Carson Wentz and one Pittsburgh running back. His name is Najee Harris. Straight up, I sent those two. Well, actually, you sent them to me because you twisted my arm. You twisted the dagger. And I got Trevor Lawrence in the third because, Jerry, I'll let you tell that part of the story about me in the thirds. But, all right, Jerry, go ahead. So you sent me T-Law in a 2022 third, random, who cares what it is. Could be the
Yep.
301, the 312. And I sent you Carson Wentz and Najee. So I'll let you take a minute and tell us some of your thinking about this trade.
So, after we record the show, me and you like to catch up. Not we might talk football, we might not. Usually it's just, how the family's doing, everything, how we're doing personally. It's a tough, trying time. Randy gets the itch, right? So we're a couple of minutes into talking, and he's like, I got Justin Herbert in the money league. What's it going to take me to get Trevor Lawrence? And my initial reaction, of course, is to tell him to go F himself, because that's what a normal human being does. Because why in the absolute hell would I want to give somebody Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence to steamroll me for the next 10 years? But he gets me, right. So he starts talking some nonsense that Jerry just can't do. And I'm like, hey, listen, if you want to do that, it's Carson Wentz and Najee for Trevor Lawrence.
And no, we got to get a little bit deeper.
I'm getting there.
You're doing productive struggle. You're doing productive struggle.
Yes.
And I really feel like I have a shot to win this league. And Najee was a big part of me revamping and getting my running back group for 2021 ready. So I'll make sure that's out there as well.
And there is something. So at this point, I have Trey Lance and I have Trevor Lawrence. So very young, very good, not necessarily set up to win this year. That's the thing, Rookies look sexy. And when you put the screenshot on Twitter, everyone goes, oh my God, your team was so good, but you don't win. And my running backs were ready for this, Randy. Ezekiel Elliott. And then crumb bums and shoe clerks, essentially.
So what you're saying is it was Ezekiel Elliott and Ezekiel Elliott.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Who I do like more than others, but you are going to need more than that to win the league. So I go for the Carson Wentz because he's a quarterback, and if I'm going to trade a superstar quarterback like that, I'm getting a quarterback back. Kiss my ass. Otherwise, the deal's not happening. But that's a very big value dip, right? So I want the big fella. I want Najee. He went wherever he went, 103 or something, I think. I don't remember exactly where he took. Probably 103.
He went 104 because it's a start 2 tight end premium league. So to say that Kyle Pitts.
Oh, you're right.
Because it went T-Law, it went Kyle Pitts, it went Trey Lance, then it went Najee. I took Najee with the one because I had drafted the 104 pick.
Yes. Okay. So, I got Carson Wentz essentially to drop from 101 to 103 or 104, excuse me. So I was about it. And Randy, he's hamming it up, right? Like he's like, well, I don't want to do that. Like I like Najee Harris because that's what Randy sounds like when he's trading. I don't know if you know this. So eventually, I'm like, he's like, well, what else are you gonna throw in? I go, you want a damn third? Like I'll give you the damn third if that's what you want. And he goes, all right, send me the third. This man accepted in 0.64 seconds as soon as I sent it because he was setting me up for the damn third the whole time. He does it every time because he knows I'm just going to give it to him. Like, I don't care. I want my guy. So that's the story on how that trade worked. Listen, it's good. Randy's got Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence. So, yeah, he's effing happy. Of course, he's having a jolly good time.
The Wonder Twins is what I'm calling them. I mean, it was a good deal, and I was very trepidatious about moving Najee.
He was trepidatious.
But hold on, hear me out for a second, because the difference in points in 2021. Or just talk 1 year, because I'm trying to win this league this year, right? In just 2021, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I don't think for just 1 year the gap between Carson Wentz on a points per game basis and the gap between him and Trevor Lawrence is going to be that significant.
That's fair.
The gap between those two, because my goal is to win this league.
Right.
But the gap between Najee and the guy that will now be my running back 3, which I don't even remember, it is tremendous. So I had to debate, and that was the sticking point for me. It wasn't that the value wasn't there. The value was more than fair on both sides. I have no problem. For me, it was a simple mathematical equation about a points per game decision based on 2021 alone. Now, long term, I think I'll love this.
Let's talk. Let's get a little deeper on Randy's side of the trade here. So, going into it, he had Najee, he had Joe Mixon, he had Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So you had some work. You had some room to maneuver. And now you're pigeonholed into Joe Mixon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So that is why he was trepidatious.
Yeah, it's for me. It's like I said.
Now he's also got Sam Darnold just sitting as his QB3 too, which is which is like you put that on his tombstone in 75 years when this guy goes down because he's making it to 110. This dude out here. Oh, hold on. I gotta praise Randy a little bit. So I don't know if people know what the Murph is, right? So this is explain what the Murph is, and then I'll praise you a little bit because I don't I know what it consists of. It's a mile run, 100 pull-ups, it's 200 exactly push-ups or something.
It's exactly that. So it's named after Lieutenant Michael Murphy. Now, if you've ever seen the movie Lone Survivor with Marky Mark, who is portraying Navy SEAL Marcus Luttrell, there's a character in that movie who's was based on a real person. His name is Lieutenant Michael Murphy. Michael Murphy, hashtag spoiler alert, so if you need to fast forward, he's the guy who at the end sacrifices himself. Basically, he's already wounded to get a signal on the radio to call him back up. And the workout's named after him, and it consists of a 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, another 1 mile run, and if you're doing it as Murphy would do it, you do it in a 20-pound weight vest or plate carrier. And I've done it the last 3 years with said plate carrier. So that's the Murph.
And has topped his best time every year, I believe?
Yeah, man. It was probably 2 years ago. My gym occasionally does like a fitness challenge to help you lose weight. I took 25 pounds off, and every year I've not put the weight back on. And I've been living that hashtag FFFitClub life. And yeah, man, I did break my personal best. I did it in 42 minutes and 47 seconds.
I think next year I'm going to attempt it so that we can see the true accomplishment of something like that. Because it would be funny. That's all I'm going to say.
Like, I thought about you.
Like I am like we make a joke like about like how I'm, out of shape and stuff. Like I'm not in that bad of shape. But if I attempted that, and we recorded it, I promise you it would be hysterical because, listen, I'm going to say this in Spanish so that we don't get in trouble, but I would say punta madre a whole hell of a lot on there, which it translates as MFer in English. I would have to say that a lot while wheezing.
I got it. I got it. I got it. So next year, we have a full year. We will do like a GoFundMe thing where all the money will go to charity. It will go to the Scott Fish Bowl because Scott Fish Bowl and Memorial Day kind of go together. We will do that next year. If we raise a certain dollar amount, Jerry will do the Murph. And how about this? You can do the Smurf. Now the Smurf is the one they have the little kids do. That's a quarter mile run. That's 25 push-ups, or sorry, 25 pull-ups, 50 push-ups, and like 75 air squats. And you can compete against my friend Samantha's daughter, who is 9. So you versus
honestly,
Ella.
I am not joking when I say this. I don't think I would be able to beat your time. You doing the normal Murph. I say that with the utmost sincerity in my voice. The thought of doing all that, like, how do you not die on the final mile stretch? Like, that just seems like do your legs turn to mush? Because you got to do the squats, then you do the mile?
Well,
Kiss my ass. Y'all are psychos.
I do it the classic way where they break it up into 20 rounds. You do 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats. You do 20 rounds of that.
Okay.
And then but for me, the last mile becomes it because I'm just like, if the sooner I get this done, the sooner I'm done. So my second mile time is because I pace myself. It's kind of like your dynasty drafts and your fantasy drafts. You know what they tell you at the draft?
You start with the productive struggle?
No, that would be you. You can't win your league at the draft, but you sure can lose it. You can't win the Murph in the first mile, but you sure can lose. I finished I finished dead last in the first mile. And there was only a couple of people that beat me because, you got to pace yourself, just like Dynasty. I want to move on to some other trades, some trades that we've made. Maybe you've got one queued up that you want to share. I've got one. Again, I made this with the aforementioned Dan Williamson from the GOAT Podcast District. I'm sorry, the GOAT District Podcast.
I got you.
Those are all words. I did not put them in the correct order. But the GOAT District Podcast at Overhyped Sleeper, that's my buddy Dan, he and I made a very simple trade. He had the 102. I had the 103. He drafted Trey Lance because he's a son of a bitch, but I love him. And I really wanted Trey Lance. I had Jimmy Garoppolo in this league. I needed a QB3. So the simple deal, and Dan's in a rebuild. Dan took over an orphan in this league, and he needs a lot of stuff. So I gave him the 103 and a 22 second for Trey Lance. What do you think about, now mind you, I have Jimmy Garoppolo, and so now I've got Trey Lance, and so I'm going to have the 49ers QB. I've got Justin Herbert in this league. This will shock everybody. I know. Hold on. If you're driving, you may want to slow down. Carson Wentz is my third QB. So I've got Wentz, Lance, Garoppolo, and Herbert as my quarterbacks in a super flex. So I gave up Fields in a second for Lance. What are your thoughts?
Okay. Easy choice for me. I honestly, I don't even think it's close. So I saw this trade when it was happening, and Dan was like, I'm cool with either one, so I'm just happy to get the second, and I'm with him. But the excitement I have for Trey Lance is something that I really didn't expect, because we sat here on this podcast, I don't remember which guest it was, Steffi maybe, that we were talking about quarterbacks, and I thought for sure that he was going to be the bust of the group, and then he landed in San Francisco at 3, and now he gets me so excited that when I think about him as a dynasty asset, I am bound to get stretch marks on my manly bits because of how excited he gets me. So yes, Randy, I would easily do that trade because I love Trey Lance, man. Like, I am so excited for that guy's prospects. He just seems like in that system, just feasting. Like, first round dynasty startup pick in 2022, just like that.
Well, let me tell you a little bit of my underlying motivation in making that trade. It was because I have Jimmy Garoppolo. Here's the thing. Jimmy Garoppolo is clearly not going to be a Niner next year, the same way we feel like Aaron Rodgers is not going to be a Packer next year. But here's the thing, guys. A lot of teams could use a bridge quarterback in 2022. Could he be a bridge quarterback in Pittsburgh if Big Ben hangs it up? Hey, why not? Let's, because the Steelers are going to be just good enough to where they're not going to be able to land like one of the top rookies next year. That's usually how this works. They'll be drafting.
Absolutely.
They'll be drafting something 20 to 32, somewhere in that range with the Steelers. So Jimmy G, not only could he help you this year, but he may retain a little bit of value. And I wouldn't have been excited or as excited if I had done that in reverse. Like if I had had Andy Dalton and I wanted to match him up with Justin Fields, because speaking about dust, my goodness. So that was
it's
the
funny.
trade.
It's funny that you brought up Andy Dalton, because from what you're talking about, it sounds like you think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be Andy Dalton. Like he might not die
Eventually.
once he's not a starting quarterback, but he's just like the guy when he is at his next job as a starting quarterback. Everyone's like, gross.
Here's the thing: if people are honest and just take recency bias out of it, Jimmy Garoppolo, when healthy, and that's been the biggest knock on him, is his health. I forget the exact stat, but he's almost missed as many games as he's played as a pro quarterback, even when he was filling in for Tom Brady a few years ago. He's just like constantly injured. And it could be bad luck, it just could be random. But when Jimmy G plays, he's okay. He's not great. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Patrick Mahomes, but he's a very serviceable fantasy quarterback. So if he goes to, like I said, a Pittsburgh is a great example with a guy like Ben retiring. Maybe Jameis and Taysom don't work out in New Orleans, and he goes
which
down,
would just be shocking to no person that breathes.
Stunned. But maybe he goes. Maybe the Texans end up trading Deshaun Watson. Now they'll probably wind up with a rookie, but my larger overarching point is that he has potential. So that was some of the other upside I have. So that was one of my other recent trades. What about you? What about another trade you've made somewhere besides with your favorite co-host?
Yeah, nothing crazy. I've been trying. You know who I've been trying to get a lot of, and it's not going to surprise you at all, but it's Justin Jefferson, and ain't nobody biting. Like I try. Like I'll even throw quarterbacks in. Like not like great quarterbacks, of course, but like here's a Derek Carr with a comparable wide receiver or anything, and it's just like, nah, kiss my ass. Here's 3 firsts. I tried 3 firsts in a league. You know what I got? Right there. I'm number 1. That's what they told me. With their middle finger.
What was the range of the first? Were they like? I'm assuming they were
not bad. I mean, at least
features?
one was almost certainly early, and they just no, thank you. Which it sort of made me stop and think what I was doing, because we always say that you can't win your league in June, and there's no reason to try and build your roster in June. Well, I guess it was May at the time, but so I sort of backed off a little bit, but. Yeah, it's been a lot of Justin Jefferson, a whole bunch of hell knows. I think now is sort of the time when people don't love to trade because they have gotten, they just did their rookie draft, so they don't want to trade them because they just picked them. Like I tried to offer a trade to G of the Aussie guys. I see him in the chat. I see you, big homie. I tried to get Jalen Waddle because I don't have any Jalen Waddle. And he told me to go F myself, which is fine.
Oh, we can fix that. We can fix that after the show. We can talk about it next week. There's another league that we're in that I've got Jalen. I can totally fix you up as soon as this pops. I do have another trade that I can share from a league that I'm in. It was an interesting trade, and it was one of the things. This is a good league full of good fantasy content providers that a lot of people would know. Jerry, here's another word. You love when I break out certain verbiage for you. So here's a word. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to redact the names as to protect those involved. But the trade was Baker Mayfield and a 2022 fourth for Kirk Cousins and a 2022 second. So our rookie draft in this league is done. So it's Kirk Cousins. The team that got Kirk Cousins is a contender and very draft capital strapped. They have moved a lot of future capital to try to build this contender. And the other team is in a rebuild. He got younger. He got Baker Mayfield. He has a lot of draft capital, and he moved a future second. So he moved 2 rounds and got younger. What are your thoughts on the deal?
So the person that got Kirk got the second?
Yes, that he got a second.
Okay. Listen, I think it's a good trade for both people. First and foremost, just based on their situations. I am a bit of a Kirk man. I think he is the most disrespected quarterback in the league for the amount of production that he does. But age is a deal here. Let's see. How old is Baker? He's like 25?
I think he's 26. I think he came in the league at like 23 and change. And I think he's 26 and change.
Yep, he turned 26 in April.
Happy belated birthday, Baker. We know you listen. You know what a fan of yours I am.
Listen, he unsubscribed 2 years ago after you said all those horrible things about him. That's a good deal. Which one did you get, Randy? I feel like all your bashing of Baker, but I feel like you got Baker in this deal.
I was not involved in this deal. This is
Oh,
just two of
okay,
my league
okay.
mates. If I'd have done it, I'd have put my, you know what Herm Edwards say? Put your name on it. I'll put my name on it. No, this was not mine. That's
Okay.
why I didn't. That's here for me. It was perfect, and I was the first person because I'm a bit of a talker. In case you haven't figured that out, I thought
That's
it was
twice as true in league chats too. Don't let him
I
fool
thought
you.
it was perfect. Hey, dude, first of all, if you're not the catalyst for action in your league chat, shame on you. Because that is the number one role you have as a Dynasty GM. If your league chat is dusty and crusty and unexciting, that's a you problem because you have the ability to jump in there. You have the ability to post tweets. You have the ability to post trades. You have the ability to post comments. You have the ability to spur the action. Be the ladle. Jerry, the ladle is what you stir the pot with. I'm the ladle in every league that I'm in. For me personally, I thought this was a great trade for both guys because the one guy's trying to get younger. Here's the thing. You want to know what Baker Mayfield is? He's a 5-year younger version of Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, fair.
Kirk Cousins on his average year is going to be QB 9 to 12. That's a range Baker has never hit, but it's a range that I think Baker can hit. So you're literally taking a guy. I think last year Baker in like basic bitch ESPN scoring, you 4 point per passing touchdown type leagues. I think Baker was the QB 17, and I think Captain Kirk was like QB 9. I think that's Baker's ceiling. Baker was robbed a little bit last year. They had the 3 horrible weather games in Cleveland, or maybe he could have been closer to that. But the rebuilding guy got 5 years younger. The competing guy got a quarterback who is going to give him maybe a point or two more a game. He's a little bit older. I think Kirk is stable because his dead cap number this year is like $45 million, and next year it's like $35 million. If there was someone who's going to break the record the Eagles set for dead cap money, it would be a Kirk Cousins deal. So I think Kirk Cousins is a 2-year asset. Yep. Baker's playing on his year 4 of his rookie deal. They picked up year 5. They picked up so Baker at the worst case scenario, it's a 2-year asset.
But he's getting re-signed.
Is he? Is he?
Do you think he's not?
If he falls on his face this year, you think they're going to resign him?
I mean, that's fair. But listen, do not threaten us with a good time about talking some bad stuff about Baker Mayfield.
No. First of all, I've turned the corner on Baker.
But that dude had some growth last year. Like you
Absolutely.
know, the guy we hated. He had 22 touchdowns and 21 interceptions. And then this guy last year, 26 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions with Nick Chubb gone for, I don't know, like 7 games or whatever the hell it was. He had Odell Beckham gone for a long chunk of the game, plus the bad weather games. That offensive line is stable. And if you have time and you can do that kind of stuff, he should grow. If I was a betting man, I don't know if I would bet it, but I would definitely consider Baker Mayfield getting to 30 touchdowns this year. And if he does that, I don't think his interceptions are going to be much higher than 10, 11, sort of in that range, which is Kirk Cousins.
My concern with Baker is that defense is very good. They're going to lean on the run game. When Baker needed to down the stretch and in the playoffs, Baker played great. He played great against Pittsburgh. He played great against Kansas City. Came up a little short. That's okay. It was his first time in the playoffs. Look at me to say nice things about Baker Mayfield. But here's the thing. We're not here about real football performance. We're here about fantasy football and winning fantasy championships. And I know the bad weather games are factored in there, but he scored less points per game than Teddy Bridgewater last year. Less points per game. Write that down. Less points per game. That's 100% true. He averaged just about 1 point less per game than Teddy Bridgewater last year. It's effing crazy. But, so here's the thing. I like the trade for both guys. So let's go out on a big one. Now, this one right here, this is 2 of the bigger names in the Dynasty space. Again, Jerry, names redacted, but are you ready?
Yep, shoot.
Okay, it's Superflex tight end premium. There are no quarterbacks involved, but the tight end premium is the key. Are you ready?
Okay.
Team A gave up Christian McCaffrey, Chris Conley, which I didn't even know he was still in the league.
Okay, so Christian McCaffrey. Got it.
Christian McCaffrey and Irv Smith Jr.
Okay.
For your boy Justin Jefferson and Mark Andrews. And there's a 5th-round pick. Someone clearly went to the Memphis School
Yes,
of
they did.
Trades and had to get a little something, something on the back end. So basically, it's Irv and CMC for Justin Jefferson and Mark Andrews. A lot of purple in there, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
Where are you at on this trade, Randy?
For me, I have a little bit more context, and context is key. It was a great move for both teams. The team giving up Christian McCaffrey is no longer a contender. They won the league 2 years ago. So when you win a league and you get the money, you get the case, you get the cheese, you get the cheddar. You know, you are spending other owners' money back into the league, so it gives you time to rebuild. The other owner has a tremendously good roster, a little thin at running back, very, very talented at wide receiver. So with some nuance, in a vacuum, I would gladly take the Justin Jefferson side. Based on the context of the rosters, which I'm trying to give some of that context so we can layer it into the conversation, because that's the thing that gets a lot of dynasty GMs in trouble, is you just look at it in a vacuum. I mean, it goes back to our Najee and Carson Wentz for T-Law trade. In a vacuum, I think I did very well. But based on the circumstances and what my goals are this year, did you happen to listen to last week's edition of the Fantasy Fixer Upper with Rakim?
I listened to a little bit of
That's
it.
his stage name, by the way. It's a stage name, like
Yes.
Eric B and Rakim. So he's playing in an Empire League, but it's an Empire League like I've never really done a lot of. He's going to come on at some point and he's going to share some of the details of this league because I thought it was really neat. And so it's an Empire League, but instead of like the first GM to win 2 championships or the first one to win 2 back-to-back, I've been in some Empire Leagues like that. They're doing it on points, where you get so many points for going to the playoffs. You get so many points for a win. You get so many points for various things. And the first owner to get to 50 points or whatever the number was wins
Right.
the Empire. You start over. And with a good year this year, he could potentially be that owner. And he was talking about potentially moving Kyler Murray. And, I was like, maybe you could get back a Matthew Stafford. Because, again, I'm going back to that same thing. It's a points per game equation. Yes, Kyler Murray has the potential to be the QB1 overall this year. But you know what? Matt Stafford's been a QB1 a lot of times. So you may give up 3 or 4 points a game, but some of that future draft capital you may get back. So like the deal he was going to pitch was going to be Matt Stafford, Cam Akers, and a future first for his Kyler Murray. Thoughts?
Well, let me circle back around on the Justin Jefferson one first, because I didn't really get to jump into that one. I think the point of context is a big one, and I'm glad that you brought that up because it does matter. I will always take Justin Jefferson over Christian McCaffrey. So, I mean, that was easy. And then I like Irv Smith. I like Irv Smith a lot. Like, he's the guy that I'm probably going to have more shares of than any other human being on the planet, just because I like where his value is and I like the talent. But Mark Andrews is going to be more productive next year, and I get the young wide receiver asset. But I understand it. If you're going to win, get your damn money. Like that's what we play this game for. I like talking trash. I like rubbing your nose in it. But in order to do that, I need to get the money. Because if you got the money and I got second, I'm just first loser. If you ain't first, you're last. Ricky Bobby told me that a long time ago, and that was a lesson I learned. Randy, what you got for me? I see you hyping something up.
Well, that's the whole point. That's like, I would never in like a traditional dynasty league recommend moving Kyler Murray for a Matt Stafford package.
Right.
Hey now, Matt Stafford's package. But what I am talking about is that he's playing by a different set of rules.
Yes.
He's working within a different set of circumstances.
And that is
that's
where
the
those
thing.
polls are flawed too. Just to jump to that, because
where-
they're not going to say that, and everyone's going to vote based on in a vacuum in a standard, quote unquote, standard dynasty league.
And these are just a one of the myriad of things that we help you with over at patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone. That's a great way to support the show, and a great way to support your chances of getting in the Scott Fish Bowl 11 is to go to iTunes, leave the show a rating and review, and simply leave your Twitter handle or your email address, or you can just subscribe over at YouTube, notifications turned on. Jerry, this was a fun show. we didn't have much planned. We just wanted to talk some trades, and I often have the most fun when we go off the rails, we go off script, and just filibuster.
I agree. This felt like a fun one, especially because we had a pretty big trade. That's not a little kid trade. We took the training wheels off and we started sprinting at each other like little kids on a joust. Randy knocked me off the bike, but I'm okay. Like I just
Speaking
got a
of
little
kids,
straight.
you know what? You know why they sprint everywhere?
I don't know what kind of
Nothing
hillbilly
hurts
southern
yet.
thing.
No,
Okay. I thought you had some southern
nothing.
wisdom for me.
No, yeah. The reason why little kids sprint everywhere is nothing hurts yet. Like if you wanted to torture me, they'd be like, sit cross-legged. I'll be like, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Yeah, I can't even do that anymore. So little kids, nothing hurts yet. So, but thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you made it all the way to the end, you heard a silly joke. And man, looking forward to this. We're going to jump back in and do some more stuff. I'm going to be mixing up the Fantasy Fixer Upper along with what I did the other night. Thank you to AJ and G of the Aussie guys for jumping on with me to talk a little bit of just some player value. Dallas was out celebrating his graduation, and I wanted to do a show.
And a big congrats to him because he's
Yeah.
I talk about my stuff. All my stuff is just reading and then writing. Like he's like a super nerd, which is bless his heart.
Well,
That is a hell of an accomplishment, especially grad school. Good on him. Keep kicking
Absolutely.
life's ass, my friend.
That's right, and that goes for all the grads out there, high school, college.
Yep.
Congratulations on your accomplishment, and keep kicking ass in life, and keep kicking ass in Dynasty, guys. We're going to be back here real soon. I don't know what the next show will be, but I know that next Tuesday we'll be giving away that Scott Fishbowl spot, so you want to be tuned in live to see who wins.
Don't mess it up.
Don't
Just
mess
get it. You'll
Easy.
get the email. You'll get the email. You can save
It's
it.
easy.
If you think
It's
I
easy.
didn't save my first one, you are still mistaken. I could pull that bad boy up right now. Because listen, I talked about getting a little too excited that you get stretch marks on your man bits. That was the first time that ever happened. I was scared. I didn't know what happened. I was ill prepared for it.
We're putting that one in the outtakes one day for the Patreon. So, on behalf of this man and his stretched out man bits, his name is Jerry Sinclair. You can follow him at JerrySinDWZ. My name is Memphis. You can follow me at DWZ Memphis. And until next time, thanks for tuning in. And we're here just to make the world a better place for fantasy football. Thanks, guys.